Hi, good day, it's Francis again. Taking a look at coverage recently today on a number of the papers in and around the City of London, and at the moment we've been focusing on the City AM, just trying to give our take on the key information that's coming out macroeconomically and more broadly on all things economic. And this particular article is of great interest to me, and it's about a fallen idol in my eyes, the great Warren Buffett. Only as I say, and I point out and allude, I believe he has lost his impartiality in most things nowadays, and has become a bit of a cheerleader for the American economy, and appears to be wheeled out every time we're about to have one of our darkest moments, as if to say, you know, Warren says it's okay. So Buffett's bullish over the American economy. There's the article, as you can see, and it's running with the folksy sage, popular guy, lots of gags and pearls of wisdom that he'd become known for, and that made him one of America's favorite billionaires. And unfortunately, there came a point where it seems to me he ceases to be a hero of mine as a great investor. While I certainly still believe he has been a great investor, particularly in his early period, it seems he's become part of the system that continues to propagate the existing environment that we're in, and is a supporter of the current action taken. And I think one of the key turning points for me on Mr. Buffett was his investment in Goldman Sachs. And it seemed to me extremely convenient that at that time he made the better part of $5 billion with an investment in Goldman Sachs at the key crisis moment of the Lehman's, just post the Lehman's debacle, when everyone was wondering if there were going to be any investment banks left standing. Mr. Buffett came and did a big confidence, it's all okay guys, I'm putting my money down, I've done my research investment down on Goldman's. And very shortly after that, Hank Paulsman, ex of Goldman's, and pretty much holding the reins of the economic crisis during the Bush era and telling everybody what should be done. And Mr. Paulson arranged that AIG, which was technically bankrupt by many times over, would in fact pay all the investment banks out for the CDO insurance they took out with AIG, even though it was totally under-equipped to underwrite all that cover that it had taken, and was totally incapable of doing so. The government stood behind AIG, and all the investment banks, of which Goldman was a huge one, were all made whole, parity. In other words, all claims were paid in full, 100%, for all insurance taken on subprime debt, thereby guaranteeing their solvency and their continuation in business. This turned into a brilliant investment for Mr. Buffett, who had arranged for preference shares with a super high interest yield that was paid during the time that we waited for this short interval in this news to be announced. And he suddenly, since this chain of events where he made this better part of $5 billion in his Berkshire Hathaway investment vehicle, turned very much into a cheerleader for the American economy and all the initiatives that were since taken. And since then he's come out and said, made big public appearances, he's become far more vocal, and he's been wheeled out quite regularly now, where he was far more slightly lower profile at all the dark moments in the US. He's become, to me, a version of a contraindicator. Whenever people are at their most pessimistic, out comes Mr. Buffett with and I'm wading in big and strong again, and rah rah America. And in this article that I've read here, he largely points to it's a European issue, and our biggest risks are that which goes wrong in Europe, and we want a greater fiscal consolidation where they all stand together, which to me sounds very much like the Germans being on the hook for underwriting unsustainable economies such as Greece, where they retire at 50, they're paid 30% more as a train driver than in Germany, and they simply don't pay any tax. So that's capitalism according to Mr. Buffett nowadays. He wants it all pulled together and turned into a nice big socialist empire so that it stops causing ructions in his world. I'm afraid that just doesn't tally with the supposed title of the bastion of capitalism that he once was, and I find him a contraindicator now. So we know when things are getting tough with America, Warren Buffett is wheeled out with another cheerleading statement. And if you think that the non-farm payrolls that I referred to in an earlier clip came in so badly off on its numbers, It's not surprising to me, with everyone concerned about the actual American situation, which is currently not being focused on. They've got their fiscal cliff. They're going to smash into their debt ceiling again soon. When that becomes the focus, it's all about Europe right now. I would certainly not be of the view that everything is rosy in the land of the free. And Mr. Buffett's coming out and stating exactly that is almost totally contraindicative for me. So beware. Beware. Don't look at what people say, look at what they do, and look at their new track record. And it seems Mr. Buffett is pro bailout, pro the socialization of Europe, pro the good economies bailing out the bad economies. That just ain't capitalism. Sorry, Warren, I'm not a buyer. You are now a contraindicator for me. Thank you very much. I now know where you stand. And I hope that this clip is useful for you. Watch out for people and watch out for their motives and incentives. If they're on the right side of the government and they're playing patsy with the current government of sustaining these kind of economies, well, so be it, but be aware thereof and draw from it what you will. That's my take. Bear in mind, these are my opinions. They're strong opinions at times. They don't necessarily reflect the people I work for and their opinions, but I believe they are born out of experience. So have a great day. Enjoy taking that into account with your future trading and activities, and we'll speak again soon. Goodbye.